Geez, I guess I'm a 3DS channel now. So, everyone remembers the 3DS, right? Well, I hope you do. And the 3DS was cool, right? It had glasses-free 3D and a killer library of games and apps, including those from the DS and DSi. But now that we've established what the 3DS did have, why don't we talk about what the 3DS didn't have? Like I said, everyone remembers the 3DS, but what nobody remembers is the Virtual Boy. To catch those of you up who may not know what those two words meant, as I don't think Nintendo did either, let me explain. The Virtual Boy was a little mistake. Okay, maybe not little, but it was for sure a mistake in terms of poor judgment on Nintendo's end. When back in the 90s, the virtual reality craze was sort of in its infancy, except now when you think of virtual reality, you think of immersive gaming experiences where you have full control, and instead back in the 90s they had this. Yeah, a lot of red and black. So Nintendo saw this and said, yeah, let's make our own. Let's make our own virtual reality system. And the beautiful mind behind this decision was the late yet great Gunpei Yokoi, who was behind these various great pieces of Nintendo's history, but also this. In 1995, we got the Virtual Boy, and it had like a few games, I guess. I mean, most of which were very meh, or straight up just not good, but a few of them were actually good, namely Virtual Boy Wario Land, which was actually good. And I guess Totoro Boxer was cool, but mainly Wario Land was the good game. But still, these are pieces of Nintendo's history that time forgot, as this thing totally flopped, as it was kind of a piece of crap, and all around not a good idea for 1995. Yet 16 years later, Nintendo would release another 3D system. And this 3D system was a much more portable handheld, and you didn't have to wear it on your head to get the 3D effect. So yeah, good ideas all around. Why not put the Virtual Boy games on here? I know Nintendo claims that the 3DS can't even play GBA games on here after they literally put them on here natively for the ambassadors, but alright. I know these games can run on it, as through emulation, PS1 and N64 games work, along with some amazing looking 3DS games. But speaking of emulation, through a modded 3DS, you can play Virtual Boy in the 3DS. Keyword here is can, as it doesn't work the best, but I'm 99% sure Nintendo could have gotten this working practically flawless if they tried. Next up on things Nintendo could have done is something they did do before, but said, nah. Only Japan understands this, and this is Flipnote. Yeah, Flipnote was a really cool little animation app on the DSi that still stands as one of the only places I can sort of draw. And with Flipnote came its online service, Hatena, that allows you to share your Flipnotes and view and rate ones that other people have uploaded. It was a really cool idea that was sadly shut down in 2013, but in 2013, Japan got the updated Flipnote Studio 3D that the US got in 2015 and PAL regions in 2016, with the only region of the three that got online support being Japan. With Flipnote Gallery World, that lasted another 5 years, as it was only shut down in 2018. So I mean, the missed opportunity here isn't that they didn't make an online Flipnote on the 3DS, it was just that they made it exclusive to Japan. While if you check YouTube, there are tons of American and European viral Flipnotes that were proof they actually cared about it. And it wasn't just a Japanese audience that Flipnote appealed to. Overall, a huge oversight in my opinion. This one they did do, but they just did it poorly and a little too late, really. The Wii's Virtual Console is iconic, and it was brought over to the 3DS, but it wasn't pretty. The Wii focused on Nintendo and various other game companies' console histories, and the 3DS would have been perfect to house all those games now playable on the go with Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Game Gear, Game Boy Advance, Atari Lynx, Wonder Swan, and Neo Geo Pocket Color games. But of all that, we got Game Boy, Game Boy Color, and the Game Gear, with Pokemon games like Red, Blue, Yellow, Gold, Silver, and Crystal being added way too late. Speaking of added too late, look at when the SNES games came out. And oh, they only work on the new 3DS systems? Oh, okay. There were some Genesis games, but only like 25, and then no arcade titles. There are so many more systems absent that should be here as a part of gaming history. That would be super cool on the go. But sadly, they were never there on the eShop. And modding has only gotten us so far, as it's much harder for fans to port to the 3DS than for Nintendo to just do it themselves. I can at least say we got a somewhat decent virtual console in the 3DS, but it could have been so much more. next is a problem I never really saw as a huge deal, but whatever. People clearly wanted it, so here it is. The 3DS has only one stick, and many modern titles, mainly shooters, require two for maximum precision, which the Vita had, and people didn't really like the Vita, I guess, as it had poor sales, but everyone wanted a second circle pad, so Nintendo gave us one via an attachment. Except here's the problem. They never used this thing like ever. No, seriously, this works for like Tetris and Resident Evil, and that's it. There could have been tons of retro shooters on here with this, even twin stick shooters. I think the 3DS is a great handheld platform for games like Doom, Hexen, Quake, Power Slave, Duke Nukem, Blood, Shadow Warrior, Postal, hey, even Half-Life, or some watered-down Call of Duty or Battlefield would be cool. Really though, it isn't a huge deal, as people buy Nintendo systems for Zelda, Mario, Pokemon, and with the 3DS, they were all portable. Except Pokemon was always portable, so it's whatever. But still, no handheld since the GBA really tried to get these shooters working, and it would have been cool to see looking and running great for the first time on the go. With the Switch, we have some of these games now, but not quite all of them, but it is progress, which I can applaud, but it would have been awesome to have it a few years sooner, and on something a little more portable. Lastly, we have the biggest problem of all, and the most missedest of all opportunities to miss. No haptic sensors in the stylus. Okay, so some of you may not know, but in 2012, Nintendo filed a patent for a vibrating stylus design that would even be able to work with the top screen of the 3DS to add even extra levels of immersion and functionality into the handheld and its games. And while I am sort of joking about this being an important missed opportunity, it would still have been a really neat novelty and possibly even an extra selling point for those hesitant of upgrading to the 3DS from the DS, or for those who were deciding between a 3DS or a Vita. I'm not exactly sure why they didn't go with the vibrating stylus, but I can think of a couple reasons that don't really fit the Nintendo family-friendly agenda. So there you have it. 5 things Nintendo missed the mark on when it came to the 3DS, and while these are all things that would have improved the 3DS, I still think it is one of Nintendo's best systems with very few flaws, and the so-called missed opportunities I mentioned in this video are not deal breakers at all, not even close, but they would just have been nice additions, that most of which that are software related are now available through homebrew and emulation. So really, the 3DS is better now than it ever has been, and it's only going to get better from here. So without dragging this on any longer, I just wanted to wrap this up by saying thank you all so much for watching, and sorry this video has taken a while to come out. It's not a super long video either, but I already have another video in the works that is much longer than this one. But I just want to say thank you for the support recently, as it's legit insane, and thanks. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.